After over 10 years of being away from Zimbabwe, I finally had the privilege to spend 5 weeks in November 2024. Okay, so if you are visiting for the first time or returning after a long time like I did, I've put together a list of what you can expect plus some tips. Take it in, experience it. Of course, some of it is my opinion and you're welcome to share yours in the comment section. Remember to keep it kind, remember to keep it civil. The first thing on the list is money, baby, currency. We have 2 currencies operating in Zimbabwe, the US dollar and the Zimbabwean gold, which is referred to as the ZiG. To be honest, I didn't have time to figure out when is best to use which currency because there is that whole thing going on, but generally the USD is widely accepted, although technically it's illegal apparently to have a preference of the dollar over the ZiG. So just be careful with your choice of words and what happens or what you do out there. To keep things simple for myself, I predominantly use the USD. If you do not have change, no problem. We'll give you sweets, we'll give you chewing gum, or you must buy water or you must buy drink to make sure to use your change. Basically, if you don't want to do any of that, they'll write you a credit note and you basically have to come back another time to spend the credit note. The third thing on my list that I want to talk about is the unspoken expectations. Okay, when you visit people in Zim, there is this unspoken thing about leaving money when you are about to go or before you go. When it comes to money and the cultural ways of handling and dealing with money, I take so many issues, and this is an area I struggle to conform in. It's just not sustainable. And by sustainable, I'm not talking about being rich or not being rich enough to drop money every time you visit people. It's just these types of handouts are never going to solve your problems. They're never going to solve any problems apart from the immediate. But as soon as you finish spending that money, you're back further deep into the problem you're trying to run away from. And so I just don't believe in helping in that way. I just take issue because it breeds and maintains dependence. It's like a shortcut to helping, but it's become an expectation. And if you don't do it, there's an energy shift. On to a lighter note. Okay, so when people are laughing in Zim, if this is your first time in Zim, when people are laughing with you, okay, they will suddenly go, ha! Like raising their hand up, okay, for a high five mid-laughter. If you don't react, if you've not seen it before, you'll be like, what's going on, you know? I feel like each country has their own thing, you know, that ends up joining you, that you end up being a part of, and it's lovely. It's a great way of just connecting with people. I also think it's like similar to like when I was in Nigeria, people, they say sorry or they say pele when you sneeze or cough, and Zimbabweans have high five when they're laughing, which nicely leads me into our handshakes. If the vibe is really vibing, the handshake starts with a semi-high five. It comes from high up and then it slaps your hand, and then you will shake, and then you will fist, like hook onto each other, and then you will rub thumbs. Yeah. It happens so quickly that, again, if you don't catch on to it, it will feel disgusting in your hands, like it will just collapse. But it's mostly a guy thing or a young people thing. It's just another fun way to connect with people. Moving on to electricity. Unlike South Africa, where load shedding it has a timetable, it follows a schedule, Zimbabwe's electricity cuts continue to happen. And they continue to happen randomly, so you can't really plan for or against them. But people have definitely found a way around this to just basically not need the main electricity, or when it's not there. And I'm talking, yes, I am talking middle class people here, okay? I'm well aware not everyone can afford to have this set up, but I think it was a thing worth noting for me, because I remember the last time I was in Zim, you'd be sat there bored and just like frustrated because you can't get on with the chores. My childhood when I was at home was centered around chores. My parents are very strict. So if there's no electricity, you can't do what you need to do. Essentially, right, people are now, they have solar panels which charge during the day. They use the sunlight, they use electricity as well. And then they have gas stoves to keep things moving smoothly, so I barely noticed when electricity cut. Moving on to the next one, which is ripped US dollar notes, or I think ripped cash notes. I didn't experience this with the Zig because I didn't hold enough of the Zig enough times to experience this, but in Zim you will see some nasty US dollars. But anyway, if they are ripped, people will not accept them. If you accidentally rip one, or if you're stuck with one and nobody keeps taking it, your options are to exchange it on the black market for a slightly lesser value than what it actually is, or you can focus on spending the ripped money at night time and pray that nobody pays too much attention. Moving on. So Zimbabweans are superstitious. A lot of you will disagree with me, or you probably even tried to fight me for this one, but I think we need to start talking, okay? Because we're very superstitious. And what's crazy is we're also very religious. Like, religion is deeply part of the day-to-day in Zim. So much so that, like, if you say to somebody you're not going to church on a Sunday, or you don't go to church, or you've paused, you're trying to find yourself, which is a very normal thing, you feel a sense of judgment. Again, back to the unspoken things that I mentioned earlier. Cool, the superstitiousness now, like, you guys are praying. Where is the superstition coming from? And we're now mixing religion and we're mixing culture in it. I just found it funny, to be very honest, watching from outside in, or visiting rather. That nicely leads me into my next point, which is customer service. If you are a foreigner, if you're not Zimbabwean, and by foreign I don't mean white people, but it includes everyone who's not Zimbabwean. Sorry, I have to specify that because our people can be somehow. But anyway, the treatment is different. It's very different. Zimbabwean to Zimbabwean, you tend to get a harsher treatment, I'm not gonna lie, especially in customer service. And I have to say this, like, woman to woman, especially to another woman, our women can be mean. I experienced this frequently. It wasn't like one-offs, you know. I'm so curious, is it me? Am I too observant? Am I rude? Let me know in the comment section if you've experienced anything similar, or if there's something I need to know, because I'm very curious. Okay, the tipping culture in Zim. The tipping culture exists in all countries, I get that, but in Zim, again, back to this unspoken air over things, we take it to a different level. The tipping culture is there for when somebody does something for you, even if it is their job to do something, they still want you to now add on top Marie drink, you know? But I feel like in Zim, it even extends to, for the simple fact that somebody exists within your family, you know, and you are coming from outside in. It's part of the culture to leave, to tip, to give. I think, yeah, it's linked to the above, all the above that I mentioned, but I'm just like, guys, like, can we talk? Are we sustaining that? Like, can we? Is that good? Is that actually what we need to be doing? I'm genuinely asking. As for me, I have said I cannot. I will do what I can when I can, but to tip when you've done your job, no. I know sometimes you can't get around these things and you have to, but it's almost like becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy of an issue. So I think we need to start talking about it so that we nip it. But I'm not just saying that selfishly. I think there are other people that will benefit from this being regulated, essentially, because of money. We now have tuck shops popping up everywhere, okay? Tuck shops are popping up in people's car boots, okay? People's cars are in drives by day and they are tuck shops by night, because groceries are literally, like, things are just expensive. This is where I say we don't understand the US dollar in Zim. We just put a price and we say, yep, that's it, you know. And I'm sure there is maths and there's reasons. I know there is. I'm oversimplifying a very complex situation, I know. But what has happened now is tuck shops are popping up. You see a mall, Bon Marché, Pick and Pay, and the nearest road has tuck shops, cars. And these cars tend to get more. They get busy at nighttime, basically. As soon as it gets dark, there's more of them. There's loads of them. There's loads of activity going on there. and they're selling from the boot. Now for me, I went as far as fruit and veg. Okay, if you want to go beyond that, that's your own risk, but I don't recommend it, because in terms of like tampered with goods, you know, counterfeits, you don't want to be messing around with things that potentially could be an issue for your health and for your safety. Now we're on to the second from last thing on my things you need to know before you go. For some reason, taxi drivers do not trust Google Maps. Instead, they want you, when you get in the car, to tell them, oh saka toti yeah, and then tozo dopana. Just put it in Google Maps. And then someone said to me, it's to do with they want to save on data, because data is expensive in Zim. I'm not gonna lie, it is. And the way they structure it makes no sense. There's night data and there's day data. Like, it makes no sense. The thing is, from a customer point of view, I don't want to talk, okay? Or at least I don't know roads. I don't know, and I don't want you to know that I don't know. Okay, so just use the one I've put there. Just follow that one, you know. And if we face an issue, okay, we'll talk. I don't know. Is that too much to ask? And also, okay, mobile data is an issue. Tinker in the app. You will find that actually you can download a whole area for free, or you can do it whilst you're connected to Wi-Fi, and it stores on your phone so that you can use Google Maps offline. To end this video on a lighter note, I am going to add to this final long list the cars in Zim, the Toyotas. I have never ever seen Toyotas that look like that in my life. Okay, like the shape of cars I saw in Zim. Now I'm starting to think, okay, either they're fake, or Toyota has a department just that specializes in making cars for Zim, and they come up with all these weird shapes, you know, because honestly, some of the shapes I saw, I started to be like, are these real Toyotas? Because especially the shika cars, they all have weird shapes. It was such a narrow car, but it was high and it had a small front. It's like, did the thing get squeezed, or what's going on here? Like, what, even the people, like, how are you going online and you pick this one? I'm sure probably it's related to like what you can afford, because ultimately that's what things boil down to for everyone. But yeah, I just, you will see very interesting shaped cars off makes that you know, but you'll be left wondering, Toyota does that? Honda makes this? Really? Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for staying to the end. This is my list from me to you. Let me know through the comments what's been your experience. What questions did you have? When are you next going to Zim? Are you looking forward to it? What are you anxious about? Hoping to create a little community like some of my other videos, where the questions kind of become a little self-help situation. Thank you so much for staying to the end. Until next time, stay safe, and yeah, see ya.